Hello, my crafty friends. Welcome. In today's video, we're going to be stamping on colored cardstock and using some colored pencils on the colored cardstock as well. I'm playing with Spellbinders Clear Stamp and Die of the Month Club Kit for November, and this one is called Diamond and Arch Motif. I have the coordinating dies. You can buy it with just the stamp if you'd prefer. Here's a close-up look at the stamp and all of the sentiments. I love the font they created for the sentiments. They're so kind of sketchy looking. The coordinating dies cut out both of the floral pieces as well as all of the sentiments. And I love it when they include dies that cut out the sentiments. I'm also going to be using the embossing folder of the month. This is called Fan Motif. And it pairs really well with this Diamond and Arch Motif stamp set. I'm going to run this through my Platinum 6 machine with some indigo cardstock first. And I'll show you a close-up look at how this turns out. It's so pretty on the dark cardstock. But later, I come in with another piece of plum cardstock, but I'll save the indigo cardstock for another project. So let's stamp out the larger floral stamp. I'm going to emboss it using some clear embossing ink. This is called Versamark ink. I do stamp it up at least twice so that I have a nice sticky image. And now I'm going to pour over some white embossing powder. This white embossing powder really pops off of this dark plum cardstock. I'll allow my heat tool to warm up for 60 seconds, and then I can melt this. I thought that Spellbinders Essential Arches dies paired really well with this. It just kind of is the same shape as the stamp. So I'll cut it out with one of these dies. The paper warped a little bit, so I'm putting plenty of tape down so it doesn't shift. I want to have a nice border around this image. Okay, here it is all cut out. There's not a lot to color on these stamps, but I am going to pull out my colored pencils and just add a little bit of color inside the flowers, as well as the leaves and the berries. And it's just fast, very simple coloring. And I don't have to press too hard, but I want to put some color down on this panel. And the colored pencils really pop on this cardstock, this dark plum cardstock. I'm using my Luminance colored pencils today. I have several sets, and I love them all, so I just go back and forth between the sets when I make my cards. So here's a piece of the plum colored cardstock in the embossing folder. And I cut this down a little bit so we'd have a white border behind it. I'm going to use some liquid glue to attach this to the white card base. I also cut out a larger arch using some rustic rose cardstock. This is a color that Spellbinders used to have in their shop. I believe it was a Fun Stamper's Journey cardstock, but they no longer carry it. I have a lot of this cardstock left over, so I wanted to use it up, but I'm sure you could find something similar if you wanted to recreate this card. I popped up my main panel with some foam strips, and I'll center this in the larger arch. This sentiment is going to say thank you, and I'm stamping this onto a piece of white cardstock just using some VersaFine Onyx Black ink. This ink will smear, so you might want to allow it to dry a little bit if you're using that. And then I'll use the coordinating die to cut it out. This is just a really small sentiment, but it's just perfect for going inside the little arch of the florals. I'll put it right here, and I did pop it up with some foam strips. For a last touch, I'm going to add some opal gems on this panel. And these are a pretty white, and here is a close-up look at the finished card. And again, this is the clear stamp and die of the month from Spellbinders for November, and it's called Diamond and Arch Motif. And the embossing folder is just called Fan Motif, so they paired beautifully together. I'll have the links in the description box if you're interested. I hope you enjoyed this video today, and thank you so much for watching. Take care, my crafty friends. Bye.